Three unpopular friends and a cameraman plan a party that gets out of control, one that turns into a night they will never forget. Thomas, Costa and JB decide to schedule a shindig at Thomas's house, as his parents are going away for their anniversary, and coincidentally it's also his 17th birthday.
Coincidence? I think not!
Dax, the cameraman, is also joining the trio with only one task at hand. You guessed it, recording what goes on throughout the day. Thomas's dad asks him to only bring 3 to 5 friends tops for his birthday, as they don't want to arrive to a destroyed home. He then leaves 4 house rules for Thomas. No one enters his office, no one touches his car, all of his calls get answered, and to take care of Milo, the dog, which is just common sense. On another hand, Thomas's mom seems to be worried about leaving the house alone with her newly 17-year-old kid. However, her husband eases her worries by telling her that Thomas is a bit of a loser who doesn't have it in him to wreck the house. First of all, ouch, way to insult your son. Second of all, boy, oh boy, they don't know what they're in for. Just before they leave, Thomas' parents give him his mom's minivan as a birthday gift. Nice! Finally, the coast is clear and the parents are gone. On the way to school, the trio and Dax discuss their plans for the party, with Costa constantly pressuring Thomas into making it bigger and bigger, later on establishing a 50 people max. While at school, we find out the group is hardly noticed by their peers at all, and when they are, it's usually joined by some form of tantalizing. Sucks for them.
It certainly does suck.
Costa and JB are excited about the party, while Thomas still remains apprehensive, but continues to power through it as Costa talks, more like brags, about his life in Queens and how he was always getting girls. I find that hard to believe Costa. The unbearable Costa decides to go behind his friend's back and pushes the only 50 people rule to its max, inviting an entire class without Thomas's approval. What a friend. Later, we get to meet Thomas's lifelong friend, Kirby, who is getting all the inside scoop about the party and informs Thomas that both the alcohol and the DJ have already been set up. Not sure if I'd hire Costa for event planning or if I'd stay as far away from him as possible.
I'm so damn confused.
The two part ways and agree to hang out at the party. Originally, the invites were rather unsuccessful, but as word starts getting around, some expectation and excitement starts to build around the party. As the day drags on, Thomas and Costa encounter Alexis, the prettiest girl in school, at least according to them. Thomas is unsure about inviting her, but is ultimately encouraged by Costa. As he does so, we get an Animal Planet commentary scene from Costa, who is marveled over Thomas's bravery.
What we are witnessing is truly a breathtaking moment,
claiming that someday he may finally lose his V-card. After school, the trio and Dax start getting the necessary supplies in order to have a killer party. At the grocery store, the trio and Dax, the foursome if you will, encounter the famous Miles Teller.
Holy shit, dude. It's Miles Teller.
They invite him, but he initially declines, stating he has other plans. However, when hearing the party's address, he realizes that that's where he's headed tonight. He then offers to take care of the party's alcohol, and without much else to say, heads off. I guess word really did get around, huh? Just before they head to Thomas's house, the group makes a quick visit to Costa's dealer. During the car ride, Thomas decides to establish more boundaries for the party, stating that the event will solely take place in the backyard. No one except for themselves and the girls they decide to bring are allowed inside. Reasonable request. The foursome then gets some of the devil's lettuce from the dealer as Costa steals a num for it to be the party's mascot.
Take it. Dude, are you stealing it?
Whatever that means. As they head to their car, the dealer notices the missing nom and starts hunting the group. While driving, the insane dealer throws all sorts of things at Thomas's newly acquired minivan, breaking the windshield as he chases them like your everyday serial killer would. The poor Thomas seems exasperated, but Costa tells him to not sweat it, as he has a cousin with a shop that can get that replaced before his parents come back.
Crack my windshield. My cousin owns a body shop.
Finally, the group arrives at Thomas's house only to be met with 2 kids that look no older than 14 dressed as security. While making final arrangements, Costa, JB and Thomas let the neighbors know about the party, asking them that if anything gets too loud, to check it with them directly. That's surprisingly strategic.
Strategy, alright?
Back at home, they start getting everything organized. They even have a bouncy castle and set signs that read "Naked Girls Only" for the pool.
Hey dudes, check it out.
It is finally showtime, and Thomas is starting to get a little nervous about the party. Costa and Kirby, who just arrived, ease his nerves a bit, assuring him that people will show. As if on cue, a flock of cars start to become visible from the window, with Costa proudly carrying a blatant, friendly yet unbearable "I told you so" attitude.
What I said, don't doubt the master.
At first, Thomas starts panicking over the heavy amount of people, going way over capacity of the maximum 50 people, not to mention the only 5 his parents originally approved. It doesn't seem to bother Thomas too much though. Alexis is there and it's apparently all that matters for now. That and his dog. Don't mess with his dog. Or any dog. As more alcohol enters his system, Thomas starts getting a little looser, especially after Miles Teller arrives with a bus full of girls and alcohol. At this point, the party is jam-packed. Later, the security kids let Thomas know that they are understaffed as they cannot keep people away from the inside of the house. For a minute there, Thomas dropped his pushover attitude and was the headstrong about getting the people out. That was until he was being cheered and celebrated by everyone inside, including Alexis and Miles, exterminating the small amount of courage he possessed. As expected, one of the neighbors, Rob, shows up, not in a keep it down way, but rather in a this is out of control, the party is off attitude.
Guys, this isn't a request.
JB attempts to dissuade him, but Costa ends up pissing him off, which causes one of the security kids to tase Rob. As the rightfully angry neighbor regains his balance, he sucker punches one of the kids. Costa uses this to his advantage, telling Rob that if he does decide to alert the police, they will show footage of him punching the kid, one that Dex caught on tape. This, of course, makes Rob flee the scene. Costa 1, Rob 0. At the party, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of naked girls in the pool, the bouncy castle everywhere. The sign worked.
Dude, that sign f***ing worked.
Back inside, Thomas and Costa are drawing off from the pool when Thomas gets a text from Alexis, inviting the birthday boy to have body shots with her. As expected, Thomas beats off and meets her, indeed doing body shots from one another. Just before they can continue with their fun party activities, Costa lets Thomas know that his dad is calling the house phone.
Am I interrupting?
Thomas rushes off and picks up, quickly getting a scolding from his dad for not answering his calls as he just wanted to check in. Thomas plays it cool and lies about the house being totally raided by all sorts of people, including Miles Teller and a Playboy model. Luckily for him, his dad buys into it. Phew! Instead of going back to Alexis, Thomas is later seen hanging out with Kirby, his lifelong friend. Feeling confident and drunk, Thomas decides to kiss Kirby, who returns the favor and allows things to get a little steamy. Just as things start to escalate, one of the security kids alerts Costa that one of the neighbors will be calling the police. Costa lets Thomas know and makes everyone quiet before the police arrives. Fortunately, the guests complied and the police couldn't do much else about the noise complaint other than request entrance, which Costa and Thomas deny. The police leave and the party continues.
Party on, dudes!
At this point, all hell has broken loose, and quieting down is not an option. Even a group of skaters broke a window.
Our cousin can replace the window, no problem. It's all good, man, I promise.
Costa has a cousin that can fix that too. Oh, remember the gnome they stole? The guests smash it with a bat only to discover it was full of ecstasy. Of course, the crowd goes wild with excitement. There, Thomas fully realizes how far things have gone and records himself drunkenly apologizing to his parents in advance. His friends Costa and JB attempt to cheer him up, only to find out that Costa had advertised the party on Craigslist and even a couple of radio stations.
Hey man, that's not cool.
Originally, Thomas is upset but quickly calms down when Costa reminds him they have 2 days to fix everything. Plus, Costa gave him some E. Back at the party, Alexis asks Thomas to go to his room. He is apprehensive at first because of his feelings for Kirby, but Costa, ever the wiser, tells him that Kirby has always been there and Alexis has not. This was enough for Thomas to head back to his room with Alexis. Once again, Thomas gets interrupted halfway, but this time it's Kirby who runs away from the pair.
Am I interrupting?
The host attempts to chase her, but she decides to leave. Upset, drunk, and high, Thomas climbs his house roof, where he notices the absolutely insanity the party has become, as even the press has sent journalists to the event.
Holy shit, it's the news.
Once again, the police arrive, but are outnumbered and in need of backup. Not only that, but an angry guest decide to steal Thomas's dad's car, the one that was completely off limits, and crash it into the pool. Costa finally acknowledges that things have gotten out of hand, confessing that he doesn't know how to fix it, any of it. Great time for a confession, buddy. If you thought things couldn't get worse, think again. The owner of the gnome, the dealer, is angry and out of revenge.
Give me back my f***ing nose!
He arrives at the party with a flamethrower and burns everything inside. Police once again call for backup, but the dealer won't stop. Upon the sheer chaos of the event, the cops fire at the flamethrower maniac, which eventually causes him to explode. The foursome finally realizes that everything is lost and flees the scene, but not before taking Milo, the dog, with them.
Oh, thank God.
At dawn, everything is quieted down and everyone in the group heads back home, except for Thomas, of course. Upon several calls from the neighbors, his parents book an earlier flight and return home. Thomas apologizes for the mess, and given the thousands of dollars of property damage he caused, his college fund is now gone. However, with a glint of pride in his tone, he asks for more details about the night.
I literally didn't think that you had this in you.
When returning to school, Thomas, who is now on parole until his hearing, arrives in his burned and broken minivan, where he meets Costa and JB embarrassed. Costa admits he has lawyered up, and JB's parents are convinced that his college plans are ruined. As the trio walk through the hallways, they are applauded and cheered on, smiling as they are finally noticed at school. In the background, Thomas notices Kirby, who is still upset about Alexis, but it doesn't take too much talking before she accepts our hero's apology. Hooray! He got the girl! As the film comes to an end, it is revealed that Thomas has been convicted for 3 charges, including inciting a riot, but was voted most likely to succeed by his classmates. Costa, on the other hand, was acquitted of all his charges thanks to his expensive lawyers, but is awaiting results on 3 different paternity tests. JB's parents convinced the court he was special needs, which made him unfit for trial. As for Dux, the cameraman, he's under investigation for the disappearance of his parents. And that's all for today. Now, tell us, what do you think? Would have you liked throwing a party as epic as this one? Let us know in the comments, and as always, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with your friends. See you next time!